10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to the February 8th edition of Thursday Night Thunder podcast with AJ and M.M.K. This is episode 2. Hopefully you guys tuned in for episode 1. I know it didn't come out quite as well as I hoped, but now we're going to try again, shall we? I'm your host, Adam Jason Sinclair, and tonight on the most hardcore program on the internet, we're talking a little bit about NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, previewing future events, and discussing wherever the motorsports pops into conversation. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, welcome. This has been a 10-year experiment, which was reborn in 2024 out of necessity and ambition. We hope you continue listening, and also take in some of the past by visiting speedwaydigest.podbean.com. This week's guest is Sarah Hodgson. Sarah started a racing career in 2020 after being introduced to the world of circuit track racing by Keith Marshall in 2018. At that point, she had not realized circle track racing existed outside of NASCAR. Her love for the sport started as being a spectator and photographer at the Spokane Super Oval in Airway Heights, Wisconsin. This soon turned into buying cars to race. She purchased a Mustang Roadrunner in 2019 and raced in this class at the State Line Speedway for 3 seasons, switching to a 1998 Ford Escort ZX2 about a year and a half in. 2023 was her 4th season of racing, and she switched to the Bump to Pass class at the State Line Speedway. With support and help from her amazing family, Keith and Julia Marshall, they were able to purchase a car that had been around for a while, but been sitting for a couple of years. Sarah contacted the previous owners, Susan Cotter and Cameron Collins. James, who turned out to be absolutely amazing, and helped her bring the car back, starting with a full motor build from $300 Facebook motor that was basically junk. She could have never come anywhere near getting the car back on track with everyone's help and support. Throughout the season, they fought some issues with the car, mostly from sitting for a while, but made it to every race but one, where she lost the transmission during practice. Sarah finished in 5th place overall in points for the season, which are personal best. They're making some changes for the upcoming 2024 season, and cannot wait to get back out there. I know Sarah was just on the line with me a second ago, but I don't see her now. So let's see. And let's hope that Michael comes on the line in a moment, because I don't see her either. I do see her in the room, but I don't see her here in the hosting thing. I know Sarah was in the co-host speaker box for a second. I don't see her now, though, which is pretty weird. But let's see here how this goes. Hey, Michael, are you out there? I can't hear you, but can you hear me? And I know that Sarah was in the co-host speakers box for a second, but she's not there now, which is interesting. Well, you can hear me, but I can't hear you, so let's go ahead and try it once again and hit the invite a speaker button and see if we can get this going, shall we? Michael is a speaker now. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I really don't like this, but it happens anyway. Anyway, we're going to have Sarah Hodgson on the program a little later this evening. At least that's my plan. I do have a new website that's lined up. For those of you who are interested in figuring it out, let's see. The new website title is Thursday Night Thunder Podcast.podbean.com. Kind of cool little name. Figured it out. It's actually available, which is pretty awesome. So we're going to go ahead and give that a shot. Should be a really good time. And unfortunately, I can't hear Michael. For whatever reason, she is not connecting, and I don't know what's up with that. But we'll figure it out shortly. And I know that it is a new season, a new start, and everything else like that. Once again, we're hopefully going to have Sarah Hodgson on the program. I don't know, but I'm hoping. But like I said, we do have the new podcast website, Thursday Night Thunder Podcast.podbean.com. Let's actually check this really quick and make sure that it is what it is. just for fun here. Here it is, Thursday Night under podcasts.podbean.com. For those of you who are interested, please go ahead and subscribe there. I did not set up a really big script tonight because I figured that the gremlins would stop bothering me. It is only the second episode of this particular iteration of the program. We've had 267 episodes of the program before. Of those, we had several that had gremlins and that sort of thing, which is fine. I don't mind it, but I'm kind of hoping that we work out these gremlins here, and it's not happening yet. Okay, Michael's going to go ahead and try restarting, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that happened in the Works 24. Once again, I did have a good chance to go out there a couple weeks ago. It was a really good race. It was awesome. The weather was good. The competition was good, and I'm going to go ahead and post a few different things here about it. I have posted some articles in the past about it, and it's come out pretty well. So let's go ahead and read those at motorsportsnewsandviews.wordpress.com. I did just post 3 new articles this evening at motorsportsnewsandviews.wordpress.com, so be sure to check those out there. Why is that not doing that? Once again, I wish I knew how the technical issues were working out here, because I did just upgrade my subscription to Podbean this afternoon. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Like I said, I went ahead and go and publish a few more articles on the motorsportsnewsandviews.wordpress.com. Those are all set now, so it'd be cool to see those. If you're interested, be sure to check that site out. I've done a lot of work on that recently. Still a little bit of work to go. I don't really like how it's coming together in a few spots, but it is coming together pretty well. I did put a My Podcast section on there, so be sure to check that out at some point in the near future. As far as more sports news and reviews, I talked a little bit more about that last week. Talked about some of the new stuff that's going on, both on the blog site as well as what we're going to be doing in the near future. Still thinking about hanging up to Sebring for the Trans Am race, although that's not 100% yet. Thinking about definitely going up to Sebring for the 12 hours of Sebring. That'll be March 16th, be the day before I go on a cruise. This show, for a little bit of housekeeping news, this show will not be on the air next week, as we're going to be going ahead and heading it out for a week in the Venice of the United States, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's not Venice Beach, it's Fort Lauderdale, which has the canals and that sort of stuff, where you basically have a lot of the neighborhoods have the back doors of the houses that go right up to the canals. You can take your little boat and go around there. It's pretty cool. We're checking that out. So, should be interesting. Anyway. And we do have a few other trips set up. As I say, we got the cruise coming up in March, so about a month or so from now. Like 5 weeks. That'll be cool. As far as racing news, talked a little bit about some amateur racing today. Nothing really exciting, but did hear a little bit more about that. There's a lot of NASCAR news coming out after the interesting race last weekend. Excuse me. Last Saturday night at the LA Coliseum. It was originally scheduled to be Sunday, but they made a last-minute change because of the weather. So that was kind of cool. Although there was nobody really there. I've seen more people at the Palm Beach International Raceway when it was open than were at the Los Angeles Coliseum for the race, which is kind of sad. Especially considering the tickets were free. I actually mentioned that on the broadcast here last week, that the tickets were free to that race. So if you don't take free tickets, what's the point? talked a little bit about the fact that in the past, some of the races at the Homestead Miami Speedway gave away free tickets, and they had a lot of people show up for those. Some of them, and for some of them, they didn't have anybody at all. So, um, just how it goes. But you would think that a race that's as big of a deal as the Clash there in California would bring in a lot more spectators, and unfortunately, did not. Looks like a really cool track. I don't know how much longer they'll be able to sustain it, because as I stated, it really didn't look like they had very many people from the limited amount of crowd shots they did on the broadcast, as well as the pictures that they posted online at later dates. So they do have high hopes for that. Ben Candy thinks there's going to be that there's still hope for the NASCAR in Southern California. I'm not sure if I agree with him, but we'll see. I'm going to keep hitting buttons here and see if I can get it figured out. Okay, just give Mike a little bit more power over the show. Let's see if that'll help. So, you never know. Again, this is a fairly new thing. You know, I've been doing this for several years on the Podbean profile. I have not been doing it in things. Let's see. It says Michael is a speaker now. So let's see. Can you hear me? Let's see if we can hear you. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Well, it says connected with Michael. It says Michael's a speaker now on my little thing, and you're not showing up as a co-host speaker in that little box on the side. So I don't know what's going on there. Kind of freaky. But let's hope it's going to work. Give it a few more minutes, and I'll push another button. Anyway, we're standing by for our guest this evening, who I hope will actually connect. I know she was online earlier. But apparently she's not online now. So we'll see how that goes in a moment. Again, this is a relatively inauspicious start to our new podcast. But we will get figured out. Yes, we will. Anyway, let's see how it goes, and we'll try again shortly. For future guests, we do have Ted Giovanni slated to be on the program, not next week, but the following week. As we're not going to be on the program next week, we're going to be out of town. I know some of you might think that's a little unfortunate. And some of you might be really happy about it. And then again, might just be interested in pushing buttons and making funny noises. But at least the sound effects are working. Anyway, so we know that. We're probably going to try and get a little bit more music on the program in the future. In the past, when we were on Blog Talk Radio, we had a lot of musical content from a couple of different bands, as well as some intros from some rather prominent people in the world of modern motorsports. I would love to have that sort of stuff back on the program again. So we're going to go ahead and work on that for this season as well and see if we can figure that out. Let's see, it looks like Sarah Hodgson is on the program, so let's go ahead and get the interview started. Unfortunately, Michael is not able to connect for whatever reason, so
No
I'm
problem.
going to be the one doing most of the questions. Hello, how you doing this evening?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. As I stated, Michael's having connection problems here again, but at least you're connected and on the line now. So let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and start with the questions that Michael had for you. I'm sure you've captured some pretty amazing moments as a photographer. Can you tell us some of your favorites?
Yeah, so my photography was mainly out at the Spokane Super Oval because after that we switched tracks and then I got into racing myself. But definitely my favorite parts when the big rigs came down from Canada and I got to be in the pace truck taking pictures of them while they were doing their race. And then also just the overall being able to be on that back wall while the races are happening. I was right up against the cars and it was pretty amazing. Probably not the safest and smartest thing, but I got some really good shots.
What was the turning point that decided to turn from a spectator to a racer?
It just sitting in the stands, it was like I want to be on that track. I want to be in that car. It's driving me crazy being up here. And then Keith had actually bought an old Firebird that we were going to start building. And that was the first car that we started building. And we ended up switching a few different cars after that before I got my other cars. But that was definitely the start of all the addiction.
Of all the tracks you've visited, which one's your favorite?
Um, my favorite to race on has to be Mission Valley Super Oval in Montana. It's such a unique shape, and there's this one part where if you don't go full speed, you'll get flung into a wall. It's just really interesting getting to learn that track, and it's just so different from every other one around here.
We've talked a lot on this program in the past about the difficulty in finding sponsorship. I know you're currently working on that yourself. Can you tell us a little bit more about that process and how it's going?
Yeah, I got a lot of advice from people when I put out a post last week, and I was told a lot of show them what you're going to be doing for the sponsor to like what makes it worth it for them to invest in you. And I needed to put together kind of like a pamphlet kind of thing of who I am, what I'm doing, like what the money will go into. But it's just a lot of going out into your community and trying to find people who are as interested in the racing and also bringing new people into the racing community.
What's one thing you feel like you've excelled at throughout your racing career so far?
Oh, definitely breaking parts on the cars.
What
I've definitely gotten more consistent, and I've never actually like missed a race day. I've made it to all my races. There was one race I didn't get to do because of part failure, but other than that, I've been consistent. I've been getting better, and like this year, I definitely learned a lot more about how to actually build a car. The smaller cars I raced before, they didn't require as much maintenance.
What's the difference between the bump to pass class compared to your Roadrunner racing in the past?
So I guess Roadrunners is it's pure competition, and you can have anywhere from a street car with a cage in it to a built car with a built motor, and it's just pure competition. Like you have some friends, but you're not there to be friends. Bump to Pass is a family, and you go out there, you have fun. Yeah, we're racing for points, positions, all that, but we're out there, we're having fun, and if you come over to our pits, we are all helping each other keep these cars on the track, and you're just one family, like all in a group, and you just go have fun every weekend.
What does a typical race weekend look like for you?
So it starts out a couple days before, usually getting truck packed up, the trailer, to get the car loaded, make sure you got your tires mounted up, and you're checking fluids in the car. And then I always go through before every race, before I head to the track, and I clean my car and I touch up the paint on it because I want it looking as nice as possible. And then usually we race Fridays and Saturdays, so whichever day we race, I get there around 10 a.m., unload the car, get all my tools set up, do a fluid check and tire pressures before I even think about taking the car on the track. And then we got a couple hours of practice and do some setup, And then I think around 4 or 5 o'clock normally we start qualifying, and they go through all the track, all the classes at that track, and we do individual car qualifying, and then after that we start heat races, and then we go into main events. And sometimes a night can go till midnight or 1 a.m.
What's the piece of advice you give someone who's interested in getting their start in the sport?
Um, Number one thing, don't cheap out on safety equipment. And also, like, if you think you want to race but you don't have the money quite yet, or you don't want to buy a car without knowing for sure, you can look around and you can find people who are willing to loan you a car for the weekend. We used to have a whole fleet of roadrunners that we would loan out to people who were new, or they just wanted to try a new track and they didn't have a car yet. And it actually got a few people into buying their own car, and then now they're racing consistently. But make some friends in the classes. Everyone helps each other out, and it really helps. What I was told to do is I was told to pick someone who'd been in that class for a while, whichever class you're wanting to race in, and you go on the track with them for practice and you follow their line. You don't necessarily have to be like keeping up with them, and they'll go slower to help you keep up. But just run the line that they're running, and that helped me tremendously.
If you had the opportunity to race any track of your choice, where would you go?
Um, I would say Tri Cities. I go there all the time. It's a triangle, and I've never gotten to race a track quite like that. And I go there to watch, and I got to race my Roadrunner on the smaller front stretch track they put together. But none of my current cars are actually, they don't race those classes on the big track. It just looks like a lot of fun. And then there's a race down in Madera that I would love to do, a mini stock race. It's just a regular track, but it's a one time per year event, and I'd really love to be able to go there.
Cool. I've actually seen some of the racing from Madera Speedway on MAV TV. That looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, competition's crazy. We have a mini stock, but it's older and it can't quite keep up. But I'd still love to be able to go down there and give it a shot.
And my final question for you this evening: what's your ultimate racing goal?
Ultimate racing goal. Honestly, like I would love to finish top 3 in points this coming season. There's a lot of people who have been in that class for a while who are very consistent and they get the top in points, and I want to be one of those people. We're making some changes, and I think I'll be pretty competitive this year, and just building friendship and family. This whole group is just a family, and I want to get closer to them.
Well, we'd like to thank you very much for coming on the program tonight and wish you lots of luck and success in the racing career in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Once again, that was Sarah Hodgson, who races in the Great Pacific Northwest there. So be sure to check her out if you have a chance. Be sure to look her up too. Her name is Sarah. That's the name Hodgson. I'm sure you can find more information if you look for it. She was pretty cool, and she seems like a racer who has a good future ahead of her. Are you a race car driver, crew chief, pit member, track owner? Maybe you're just a huge fan of the sport. Contact us to get your spot on the show. After all, you deserve your 15 minutes of fame, and we'd love to hear from you. That's another thing I'm going to do on the new websites here is put a little bit of contact information. So be sure to check that out on Thursday Night Thunder Podcast.podbean.com. As soon as you get to that page, there will be a section at the bottom. It's a Your Host section. Um, Currently, my information is on there. Soon I have Michael and a lot of the compilers information on there. But I'm going to go link down in that section. Check that. Lots of great motorsports.com site. You can go down to the bottom. I've got a link to the Speedway Digest Radio Network, and most of the shows on that particular site, at least up to this point, are ones that I am proud to have produced. So be sure to check that out. Motorsports News and Views.wordpress.com. Down at the bottom is the link to past episodes of Speedway Digest Thursday Night Thunder from its inception in 2014, July of 2014, to the last episode we did for those guys in January of this year. Now, we do have also have a link on the Motorsports News and Views.wordpress.com page, which I'm also going to link at the Podbean page. We've got information about the 2 episodes we've done so far this year of this program. This is, of course, episode 2 officially, but I'm considering it episode 3 because I'm sort of looping the last episode we did for Speedway Digest into that category for this year. We do have information about Apex Motor Garages, which is the new development that's coming up right next to the Sebring International Raceway. I'm going to be posting a new article about them. Probably it might be later this evening. I'm actually doing some more stuff till like 9 o'clock here for the next 30 minutes or so. Probably going to post a little bit more about them. I might be later this evening. It might end up being another week or so. It really depends on how much stuff I get done. But they do have some news coming out. Let's go ahead and give a little snippet of that if we can here. Click off to this page, this page, this page, this page, and go right up to the top here and see what he sent me. They've got it's the Apex Motor Garages and Sebring Driving Club announced official partnership. We hinted at that when we talked to him, to Chris Armstrong, there, the director of marketing for Apex Motor Garages a couple weeks ago. So we're going to go ahead and post a thing about that either today or sometime in the near future. I can probably do it today. It looks like it's a relatively simple thing to post up there. So that should be good. That could be really good. And we're looking forward to getting a tour of Apex Motor Garages. We're going to go up there for the Sebring race on the 16th of March. It might be, might try to go up there earlier, like I said, but it all depends on work schedule and all that. And with the fact that I'm taking a couple weeks off, both in February and in March, that might not work out quite as well. So I'm thinking it might just be the 16th that we're up there. We should go and check out the motorsports, the Apex Motor Garages in the morning before we go over to the track. That's kind of what I'm aiming for now. But should be pretty cool. I'm going to try and get a lot of pictures there. I might take the big camera as opposed to my little phone thing or the other camera that I've been working with. Again, I'd like to thank Insta360 for their support. I do have 2 videos. They're going to be coming out from the Rolex 24 that was taken into Insta360 cam. Those will be posted on YouTube. They will probably be linked at Motorsports News and Views.wordpress.com. Might even link them here, but more than likely it'll be at the and Motorsports News and Views and at Facebook.com/SD Thursday Night Thunder. Now, if you're a fan of South Florida and tourism, be sure to check out the latest news and information about our slice of paradise and my travel blog, For Plum's Fantastic Finds, which can also be found on Facebook at For Plum's Fantastic Finds. That's FABORPLUMBS, one word. Fantastic Finds. You can also find it on Twitter, going to @ForBorePlums or at PBHappening. All my travel stuff ends up at PBHappening. So be sure to check that out there on Twitter. And of course by heading directly to the site, which is ForBorePlums Fantastic Finds. FABORPLUMBS Fantastic Finds.wordpress.com. I'd like to thank all of you for listening. We look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks in the Thunderdome as we discuss the major issues in the world of modern auto racing. Hopefully Michael's able to get herself connected in 2 weeks. I have faith. So we'll see how that goes. Should be really, really cool. And again, thank you for listening and have a great night. Bye-bye.